I lost over $1,000 making and delivering a cutting board. Kind of. I don't make a lot of cutting boards. They're reserved in my mind as one of the gifts for close friends and family on very special occasions. I have a longtime friend who may as well be family at this point, and she is engaged to be married, so a personalized cutting board seemed like a good fit for the occasion. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. Her stepfather was one of the original support pillars in my corner when I was considering making woodworking a full-time gig, so much so that he gifted me with some essential woodworking tools, a Powermatic joiner, and a Rockwell planer. He didn't just gift them, he hand-delivered them from his home over 6 hours away. His name was Randy, and unfortunately he passed back in 2021. I think of him and his family every time I'm in my shop, and especially every time I run a stick of wood through or across one of those machines. So Randy's stepdaughter is getting married, and I wanted to gift her with something made on the tools he gave me, so a little piece of his kind and huge heart would be passed on through my trade that he championed from the very beginning. So, wow, we're kind of all over the place, so let's get back to the cutting board. Every project has a goal and a story. I've given you the backstory, which brings us to the goal. Basically, to utilize what I've got. So what do I got? I got a scrap bin that needs to be thinned out. I've got tools to mill wood flat. I've got glue and clamps and sanders and a CNC. And I've got a construction can light to give the perfect mood lighting for a project that has symbolic and nostalgic roots. Oh, and also I have a template. Quick aside about this template. I mentioned I don't do many cutting boards, but I have a best good friend that does. And his boards are works of art. His name is Pete, and you can find him at kin_woodshop. He made me a board a few years back, and I thought I'd pay a little homage to another good friend in the process by utilizing the shape of a board that he created that I think is pretty darn cool. So back to the story. The wedding was going to be held in Las Vegas, where my friend and her fiance live. It should also be noted that my friend is a performer and creator of Gladius the Show. It's an acrobatic equestrian production that's frankly a pretty badass Cirque du Soleil meets Mad Max kind of thing with horses. Her fiance is also a professional musician who's played with The Academy Is, Never Shout Never, Hello Goodbye, and The Cab, just to name a few, and is also making a name for himself in his own right. Also, the wedding was going to be a 1969 Woodstock-themed wedding where dressing as a hippie flower child wasn't just a suggestion, it was a requirement. So when I got the invite, there really wasn't too much of a question in my mind as to whether we should just send a card with our regrets or whether we should go and hand-deliver something epic to them. Knowing the bride and groom, it stood to reason that everyone in attendance at this wedding would be either a circus performer or a musician. You know me as a woodworker, but friends that have known me from way back, and I mean really truly know that circus and music really strike a major chord in the deepest depths of my soul. So yeah, I make this cutting board on the tools her stepdad gave me, using another board gifted to me from my best friend as a template. I finish it with some homemade board butter. Real quick about this board butter. I've got a video showing the process on how to make your own, but in my last batch, I used white/clear beeswax pellets instead of the usual yellow. And once it was done mixing and cooling down, it looked a lot like, well, I showed my friend Pete and we came up with wood splooge, guaranteed to finish. So anyway, as far as cutting boards go, I couldn't have been more happy with this little guy. Maple, cherry, and walnut all held together with a heavy dose of symbolic nostalgia. So now we're off to Vegas. We got a good spot overlooking the strip, and when the day of the wedding came, it did not disappoint. The ceremony was beautiful. People were coming down the aisle on horses. There were circus things happening, and music things happening, and hippie things happening, and pyrotechnics, and did I mention the circus and the music stuff? And then finally, the moment I was most excited about, as tacky as it was, I pulled the bride and groom aside and hand-delivered their wedding present.
So, YouTube video about the process.
What did you make it?
Shard.
Thank you, darling.
You're very welcome. You'll be good to go. You're very welcome. Absolutely. I'm going to put this on your ear.
So how did I lose $1,000? Plane tickets, hotel, Airbnb accommodations, Ubers, Lyfts, food, David Copperfield, casino slots, a rental car, and the Hoover Dam. All to deliver a priceless cutting board. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. Follow me at Mr. Matt Woodworks on any of your social medias, and we'll catch you in the next one.